You're watching a Highwire Media podcast. Welcome to Connect the Conspiracy. As always, I'm your host, Larry Lace, and on tonight's episode, we dive into the Mandela Effect. Before we do that, give me your thoughts on the Mandela Effect. Do you think it's real, or do you think it's all fake? Let me know. And with that, let's dive into today's episode. The Mandela Effect refers to a collective misremembering of specific facts or events by a large group of people. The term was originally introduced in 2009 by paranormal researcher Fiona Broome after she discovered that numerous individuals, including herself, recalled Nelson Mandela dying in the 1980s during his imprisonment. In reality, Mandela was released in 1990 and lived until 2013, but this discrepancy sparked curiosity about how many could share the same false memory. Since then, anecdotal reports of similar memory anomalies have multiplied, aided by the rise of the internet and social media. Common examples include the spelling of the Berenstain Bears, often misremembered as Berenstain with S-T-I-N instead of S-T-A-I-N, or the belief that Darth Vader's line in Star Wars begins, "Luke, I am your father," when the actual line is, "No, I am your father." Such widespread, confident inaccuracies challenge our understanding of memory reliability. The fascination with the Mandela Effect stems from its blend of the mundane and the extraordinary. On one hand, psychologists attribute these phenomena to cognitive biases, memory reconstruction, and social reinforcement, natural aspects of human cognition. Our brains rebuild experiences by piecing together fragments from perception and prior knowledge, which can introduce distortions. Memory consolidation during sleep and consolidation upon recall further modify details over time. Social dynamics also play a pivotal role. When one person asserts a false detail with conviction, others may adapt that version, a process amplified by online discussion threads, forums, and viral posts. Confirmation bias leads individuals to notice and repeat examples that fit the pattern, reinforcing the collective belief in a shared but inaccurate memory. Digital culture, with its rapid sharing and remixing of content, creates fertile ground for the Mandela Effect to spread. Conversely, some enthusiasts propose extraordinary explanations, suggesting that anomalies in memory could result from shifts between parallel universes, timeline alteration, or glitches in the fabric of reality. Although lacking empirical support, these theories tap into fundamental questions about the nature of existence and the boundaries of human perception. Tonight, we will explore the origins and early cases of the Mandela Effect, examine psychological and cultural factors that drive collective false memories, analyze notable pop culture examples, and evaluate both skeptical perspectives and speculative theories. By unpacking this phenomenon, we aim to shed light on the complex interplay between human memory, social dynamics, and the nature of reality. Though the term Mandela Effect was coined in 2009, reports of collective false memories extend much further back. Early psychologists observed that groups often misremember details of widely publicized events, an effect first systematically studied in the 1930s by Sir Frederick Bartlett, who demonstrated that repeated storytelling altered listeners' recall over time. Bartlett's experiments showed that people unconsciously fill gaps, simplify narratives, and rationalize inconsistencies, leading to distorted collective recollections. One of the most cited pre-2009 examples involves the children's book series The Berenstain Bears, which debuted in 1962. For decades, countless readers insisted the books were spelled Berenstain, like we mentioned, S-T-E-I-N, reflecting a common German surname ending. However, all published editions confirm the Stein spelling. This discrepancy first gained widespread online attention in the 90s as forums and fan sites exploded with debate over how so many could misremember the name identically. Similarly, many people recall the Monopoly mascot, Rich Uncle Pennybags, commonly known as the Monopoly Man, as wearing a monocle, though no official artwork ever depicted him with one. The persistence of this false detail likely stems from conflation with other monocled characters in early 20th century imagery and cartoons. Early debates on CompuServe and Usenet in the 1980s foreshadowed today's Reddit and Facebook threads, demonstrating that collective memory errors thrived even in pre-social media internet communities. Another striking anecdote emerges from major news events. Some individual recalled news footage of pilot Amelia Earhart surviving her 1937 disappearance, which I don't remember any of this, or stories of the US flag being planted on the moon in 1969, only to later learn no such images existed. To be fair, I actually do remember thinking the US flag was planted on the moon. For some reason, I don't remember if I saw a picture or something, maybe I just heard about it. But these incidents underscore how expectation and cultural archetypes, like the triumphant astronaut or the heroic pilot, can warp memories into fitting our mental templates. In the early 2000s, message boards dedicated to false memory and memory glitches collected thousands of testimonies ranging from movie misquotes to misremembered product logos. Users posted side-by-side comparisons of the Fruit of the Loom logo, which some recalled with a cornucopia, though official brand history denies any such design. By crowdsourcing examples, these communities highlighted that isolated memory errors quickly escalate into collective phenomenon when shared in public forums. These historical instances reveal two key points. First, memory is inherently malleable, shaped by suggestion and social reinforcement. Second, the internet acts as a catalyst, transforming individual slip-ups into mass curiosities. In the next section, we'll dive deeper into the psychological mechanisms that underlie these shared misrememberings. At its core, the Mandela Effect arises from well-documented cognitive phenomena rather than supernatural forces. One foundational mechanism is memory reconstruction. Our brains do not store perfect recordings of events, but instead rebuild them each time we recall them. During this reconstruction, gaps are filled with related knowledge, expectations, or associations, which can introduce inaccuracies. Over repeated recalls, these distortions may become entrenched as true memories. Confabulation further contributes to false recollection. This process involves unintentionally fabricating details to maintain narrative coherence. For instance, when someone vaguely remembers playing a board game in childhood, their mind might invent a monocle-wearing mascot because it fits their mental schema for wealthy, cartoonish characters. Despite sincere confidence, they are merely recalling a blend of actual memories and imagined details. Another key factor is source monitoring error. Confusing the origin of a memory. In the realm of the Mandela Effect, individuals often conflate snippets from movies, fan art, hearsay, and childhood recollections. For example, someone might vividly remember seeing a cornucopia on the Fruit of the Loom logo because they once saw a satirical t-shirt design online. Later, they might misattribute that image to the official brand, demonstrating how context mixing begets collective false memories. Social reinforcement amplifies these individual biases when people encounter others who confidently share the same misremembered detail. They receive social validation that strengthens the incorrect memory trace. This is related to confirmation bias, where individuals favor information that supports their beliefs and disregard contradictory evidence. On internet forums or community threads, users cheer on each other's discoveries, rarely questioning the validity or consulting primary source. Neuroscience adds another layer during memory reconsolidation. Recalling a memory temporarily destabilizes it, making it susceptible to modification before it is stored again. Every time a group discusses a misquote or logo error, participants reactivate and thus potentially alter their own memory, locking in the collective version. Over time, this cyclical process can lead to dozens of people independently insisting on the same false detail each time, reinforcing the other's convictions. Finally, schemas, mental frameworks for understanding the world, guide memory encoding and recall by emphasizing expected patterns. If you expect Darth Vader to address his son by name, your schema might insert Luke into the iconic line. When such insertions go unchallenged, they solidify the shared lore known as the Mandela Effect. These psychological principles demonstrate that our own minds are powerful incubators for the Mandela Effect. Yet cultural and social contexts determine which memories shift and how far the phenomenon spreads, which we will explore right after a word from our sponsor. Let's be real, we're online all the time. Whether you're streaming, baking, or doom scrolling at 2 a.m., your data is out there in the open. And these days, hackers, advertisers, even your internet provider want a piece of that pie. And that's where NordVPN steps in. NordVPN is one of the fastest and most reliable VPNs in the world. With just one click, you can protect your devices with military-grade encryption. Think of it as putting your online activity in an armored tank that no one's getting into. Worried about public Wi-Fi at coffee shops or airports? Don't be. NordVPN shields you from sketchy networks and keeps your personal information like passwords and credit cards safe from prying eyes. Want to stream shows that aren't available in your country? You're going to love this. NordVPN lets you access content from over 60 countries, so you can binge international Netflix, Hulu, or BBC iPlayer with zero buffering. Plus, with threat protection, NordVPN now blocks ads, trackers, and malware before they even get to your browser. It's like antivirus and privacy armor all rolled into one. And right now, NordVPN is offering an exclusive deal just for our subscribers. Use the link in the description today to get a huge discount on a 2-year plan plus 4 bonus months free. And on top of that, up to a $50 gift card to Amazon. That's 28 months of digital peace of mind. And there's zero risk, thanks to Nord's 30-day money-back guarantee. Try it out, and if it's not for you, no problem. Protect your connection, explore the internet without limits, and use the link in the description and take control of your online life today. Cultural trends and social interactions profoundly shape how the Mandela Effect propagates. In pre-internet eras, false memories spread slowly through word of mouth, letters to editors, or occasional talk shows. Today, platforms like Reddit, Twitter, Facebook, and TikTok accelerate collective reinforcement, turning individual misremembrances into viral phenomena overnight. One key driver is social proof, the tendency to conform one's beliefs to match those of a group. When an influential YouTuber or widely followed Reddit account spotlights a mind-blowing discovery, say that spellings or movie lines have changed, thousands of followers adopt that claim as fact. Even people skeptical at first may encounter repeated affirmations in comments and replies, triggering a bandwagon effect. Over time, dissenting voices fade beneath a sea of agreement, solidifying the false memory in collective consciousness. Meme culture also plays a role. Memes distill complex ideas into a bite-sized, often humorous image or text post, which are shared and reshared without context. A single meme highlighting the Berenstain and Berenstain debate can introduce or reinforce the misconception for viewers who have never heard of the books. Because memes rely on repetition and emotional engagement, they embed distorted details into memory far more effectively than dry explanations ever could. Community rituals like My Mandela Effect threads foster a sense of belonging around shared experiences of reality glitches. Members swap stories, vote on examples, and upvote the most dramatic or puzzling anecdotes. The crowdsourced catalog grows daily, creating a feedback loop. New visitors see dozens or hundreds of testimonials and assume there must be something paranormal at work, lending psychological weight to the phenomenon. Language itself can influence memory. When people discuss an event using wording that implies change, phrases like, I could have sworn, or it used to be, they primarily reinforce the idea of alteration rather than simple misremembering. Researchers call this framing effect. If someone reads, you won't believe how these logos have changed, they approach the content primed to spot inconsistencies, even if none exist. Finally, media coverage can legitimize the Mandela Effect. When podcasts, news articles, or documentaries take the concept seriously, sometimes interviewing victims of false memory, it grants the phenomenon an aura of credibility. This mainstream attention encourages more people to look for anomalies, creating further examples and perpetuating the cycle. These cultural and social dynamics demonstrate that the Mandela Effect is as much a collective storytelling phenomenon as it is a memory glitch. And now we're going to explore some of the most notable pop culture examples that have captured the public's imagination. Pop culture supplies the most vivid and widely discussed cases of the Mandela Effect because billions engage with movies, books, and brand imagery. Like we've hinted below, or before prior, one of the most famous examples is the film Star Wars The Empire Strikes Back. In countless retellings, fans quote Darth Vader's climatic revelation as, "Luke, I am your father." Yet the actual line, confirmed by Lucasfilm and found on the original film script, is, "No, I am your father." The insertion of Luke feels natural. Vader is addressing his son, but this expectation-driven alteration exemplifies how schemas influence recollection. Movie lines beyond Star Wars also misquote widely. In Field of Dreams, Terrence Mann's line, "Is this heaven? No, it's Iowa," is often remembered as, "This is heaven." The original two-part exchange clarifies the confusion, but when truncated in trailers or memes, it feeds the sense of mysteriously changed grip. Likewise, Forrest Gump's line, "Life is like a box of chocolates," is frequently misquoted as, "Life was like a box of chocolates," subtly shifting tense yet provoking passionate disputes among fans. Television theme songs and lyrics sometimes spark Mandela debates. The Jaws theme's memorable da-da, two-note motif is recalled by some as a three-note pattern. Sorry, now I got the theme in my head. That one I haven't actually heard of, but Jaws, yeah, I could have sworn it's three notes. And many older audiences insist that the Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood opening said, "It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood," despite the actual lyric being, "It's a beautiful day in this neighborhood." These slight but striking discrepancies capture imaginations because they relate to beloved childhood memories. Each example illustrates how repetition, cultural prominence, and personal affinity for a text or an image combine to create widespread misremembering. While mainstream science attributes Mandela effect to cognitive and social factors, some enthusiasts propose far more exotic explanations rooted in physics and metaphysics. Chief among these is the idea of parallel universes or alternate timelines intersecting our own. According to this speculative view, each decision, point, or quantum event spawns a branching reality. Occasionally, these branches bleed into each other, causing memories from one timeline to overwrite perceptions in others. Proponents point to quantum mechanics' many worlds interpretation, which posits that every possible outcome of a quantum event actually occurs in a separate, coexisting universe. They argue that if human consciousness can access or shift between these universes, discrepancies in our memories, such as believing Nelson Mandela died in prison, might reflect remnants of an alternate history where those events genuinely happened. The Mandela Effect becomes evidence of these cross-dimensional echoes. Some theorists invoke tachyon particles, hypothetical faster-than-light entities, to explain how information might travel back in time, subtly altering history and leaving faint traces in our memories. Others imagine a matrix-like simulation in which programmers update code, inadvertently changing objects and dialogues without alerting inhabitants. Every glitch or memory mismatch could be then a debugging artifact, prompting users to question the nature of their reality. Despite the creativity of these ideas, they face substantial scientific hurdles. No empirical data supports consciousness migration between universes, nor is there evidence for tachyons or matrix-style reprogramming. Quantum experiments consistently reproduce the same physical laws and constants, without anomalies that would suggest timeline shifts. Moreover, if alternate histories were bleeding into ours, we would expect widespread uncorrelated inconsistencies, not coherent clusters of shared false memories tied to popular culture artifacts. Critics point out that extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence. Occam's razor, favoring simpler explanations over complex ones, undermines the need to evoke parallel universes when psychological mechanisms already account for the phenomenon. Nonetheless, the parallel universe hypothesis persists in online forums, fueled by human fascination with the unknown and the desire for cosmic significance. Ultimately, while parallel universe models capture the imagination, they remain firmly in the realm of pseudoscience. They reflect our yearning for mystery and our impulse to project internal cognitive quirks onto the external world. The Mandela Effect challenges core assumptions in epistemology by illustrating how fallible human memory can undermine our claims to knowledge. In classical philosophy, knowledge is often defined as justified true belief. Yet if large groups of people confidently assert memories that contradict documented facts, we must question what counts as justification when testimony itself is error-prone. Collective misrememberings underscore the importance of external validation, consulting archives, manuscripts, or direct evidence, rather than relying solely on subjective recollection. Social epistemology, which studies the communal aspects of knowledge formation, gains special relevance here. Communities often construct shared narratives that members accept without skepticism. When a consensus arises around a false memory, reinforced by forums, influencers, and viral content, it acquires an aura of truth despite lacking empirical support. This phenomenon highlights the tension between consensus and correspondence. Theories of truth. Agreement among many does not guarantee alignment with objective reality. The Mandela Effect also raises questions about testimonial injustice. People who reference their own memories may be dismissed as mistaken or overconfident, yet their experiences reveal cognitive biases common to all. Philosophers of science remind us that anomalies, observations that don't fit prevailing theories, can spark paradigm shifts. Furthermore, the phenomenon exposes vulnerabilities in modern information ecosystems. In an age of fake news and deepfakes, the ease with which false narratives propagate suggests that memory errors may compound susceptibility to disinformation. If we cannot trust our own recollections uncritically, we must cultivate epistemic virtues that, like intellectual humility, open-mindedness, and a willingness to verify claims against reliable sources. The Mandela Effect conspiracy, while often cloaked in the language of paranormal intrigue, finds its most compelling explanations within cognitive psychology and social dynamics. We discussed that memory is not a passive record, but a reconstructive process susceptible to confabulation, source monitoring errors, and schema-driven insertions. We discussed how cultural factors, meme culture, social proof, and algorithmic amplification transform individual misremembrances into global curiosities. Notable pop culture examples, from Darth Vader's misquote to the Berenstain Bears spelling debate, illustrate how expectation and familiarity shape what we recall. We explore the parallel universe theories, underscored by human penchant for extraordinary explanations when faced with dissonance, but also highlighted the lack of empirical support for such models. Looking forward, interdisciplinary research can deepen our understanding of collective false memories. Neuroimaging studies could map how group discussions alter neural pathways involved in reconsolidation, while large-scale corpus analysis might reveal patterns in which type of content, logos, quotes, lyrics, are most susceptible to mass misremembering. Experimental interventions such as inoculation theory training could test methods for reducing susceptibility to shared memory errors, and thereby improving public resilience to misinformation. Ultimately, the Mandela Effect serves as a mirror reflecting both the strength and weaknesses of the human mind. It reminds us that memory, while powerful, is imperfect, and that our social environments profoundly influence what we believe to be true. By studying the Mandela Effect, not as a conspiracy, but as a natural byproduct of cognition and culture, we can bolster critical thinking, safeguard information integrity, and foster epistemic humility in an era defined by rapid information exchange. And that is our episode for this month. Let me know your thoughts in the comments section below. What do you believe about of the Mandela Effect? Do you think it's a real thing, or do you think it's just how our brain operates and what we remember and all that good stuff? Of course, if you want to support the channel, you can buy us a coffee at buymeacoffee.com/Larry M. Lease. As always, you can find us on all major podcast platforms: Amazon, Google, Spotify, Good Pods, wherever you get your podcasts from. As always, thank you so much for watching and listening. We will see you next time.